but describe a story from one of these memorable experiences, donating that, paying it forward.
We did a little surprise. We showed up at the house while she was at school, got the house painted. Parents took everything out of the room because they were redoing the room already.
Right.
But we were able to surprise her when she came home from school. And we added a little touch. My hospitality kicked in and added her favorite stuffed animal on the bed. It was a giant panda. So just the look on her face and the surprise that she had when she came into that room was unforgettable. It's true joy. Like, you don't get that very often from a lot of people, but that true joy for a child can bring was absolutely amazing.
Entrepreneurs, I'm excited to bring a new industry to the show, but first, we got a fellow Tampa guy here, Matt Boden, joining us today as the owner of Fresh Coat Painters of Tampa. One of many goals is to find different industries, not just the same ones over and over again. And today, Matt's coming on. He has 20 years experience in a different venue in hospitality, which we're going to talk about with my background in hospitality as well. But Matt, thanks so much for joining that entrepreneur show.
Absolutely. We really appreciate you having us on.
Oh, I'm excited. I've had the part-time hustle being in hospitality for a long time, up until about 10 months ago. I know the strain that causes on building a business or trying to make that happen. Talk about your experiences with that transition.
Owning and operating restaurants for 20 years built a huge foundation that brought me into this business. Being able to treat people right, understand people's needs, and able to take care of them on any sort of issue that may come up has really helped kind of grow my business now.
That's obviously a big thing in hospitality. The customer is always right, especially that translates, of course, to business because you've learned to interact with people of different backgrounds and all of these different things. I once had someone keeping a smile, of course, where at the restaurant I worked at, they didn't like our truffle mac and cheese. They said they prefer Kraft macaroni and cheese. The restaurant had the busboy go out and get some Kraft macaroni and cheese and made it for this customer. So I understanding how to treat people right. I've typed it up right here in the show notes. But now that you've transitioned to painting, what do you like most about not being in the hospitality setting?
I love the fact that I'm able to have a more normal schedule, more time with my family.
Yes.
I'm not up till 3 o'clock in the morning anymore, so that's a big bonus, and really getting the time back that I missed for so many years with my family.
I totally agree. When you have to be up that late and then you still have to get home and wind down, it's tough to get your morning going the way you want it to go. But you donate a home paint makeover to a local family facing cancer and medical bills. I wanted to make sure I was reading that right. You have your own very, very inspiring story. What gave you the idea to pay forward each year?
Yeah, so I'm in 13 years remission right now from stage 2
Amazing.
lymph nodes cancer. And, it doesn't just affect the one person, it affects the whole family who are going through that process as well. So when I was looking for a great foundation to partner with, because I knew I wanted to do something to give back, National Pediatric Cancer Foundation was a great partnership and helping out the children who just a little bit of change in their life, a new color in the room, gives them a little bit of hope that if I can provide that, great. It's something that I think is very, very important to not only the child, but the parents who are also going through it, because they're with that child every day as they're going through that struggle.
Certainly agree with you there. It's not just about you. It's a lot of people that are affected with you, attached to you, and now you're paying it forward, making such a big difference. You may not be able to give the name of the person, and that's okay. But describe a story from one of these memorable experiences, donating that, paying it forward.
We did a little surprise. We showed up at the house while she was at school, got the house painted. Parents took everything out of the room because they were redoing the room already.
Right.
But we were able to surprise her when she came home from school, and we added a little touch. My hospitality kicked in and added her favorite stuffed animal on the bed. It was a giant panda. So just the look on her face and the surprise that she had when she came into that room was unforgettable. It's true joy. Like, you don't get that very often from a lot of people, but that true joy for a child can bring was absolutely amazing.
Well, Thank you for doing all you do for the community. I think that's absolutely incredible. The smile that you see probably makes it all worth it right then and there each and every time. I do now want to talk about if this was what you saw yourself doing as the next step always, or if entrepreneurship just took its course. Did you have these restaurants? You said, I'm going to get into painting when it's over, or describe this.
Yeah, so painting was never on my radar. I did it as a hobby and painted some families and friends' houses. It's always very therapeutic, but it
Yes.
was never a career goal or something I wanted to do. But I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit. So when I decided to retire from the restaurant industry, I started looking at other industries and what I can still be successful at. And I just got drawn into the painting industry because I knew a little bit more about it. I was very familiar with it. And that's what made me choose to open up Fresco Painters.
I'm sure it has to be a big difference from being in the restaurant, loud, noisy, so much going on, pure chaos all the time, to working maybe not alone, but in small groups. Which setting do you prefer?
I like them both. I thrive in chaos, but at the same time, I love the consistency and the structure that I'm able to have, scheduling and being all that in front of the clients as much as I need to be. It's a little different. I don't deal with as many people daily, but it's a welcomed change.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I think sleeping's got to be at the very top of that change. I know,
Absolutely.
I know it would be for me too. So if you're in the Tampa area, where can we find you?
So you can follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn, Facebook as well. So we also have freshcoatpainters at tampa.com. You can go on the website, book an appointment with us there. We work all over Hillsborough County and most of Pasco County. So as long as you live in those areas, we can absolutely help you out.
Thank you for adding that. I didn't know if we had to come to your flagship location, or we can go ahead and do something online if this sounds like a good fit.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can find us on pretty much any social and through our website.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I do want to now ask, because I got some of these great talking points. Thank you for sending these over. How was year one as a business owner faring out differently than the one after?
The first year, it was a lot of learning and grinding, but we saw exponential growth just bringing that hospitality background into it. My project manager, it used to be my executive chef. So he has that hospitality mentality as well. So we were able to really kind of change the dynamics of what people think of in home services. A lot of people think of painters as showing up in windowless vans and dirty clothes, and we're trying to professionalize a lot of what we're doing, and this has really helped with that.
Changing the stereotype of painters. I love that. And just loving what you do, putting the passion into it will make all that difference. You could hear today he's trying to change the game he's in. Do you see yourself expanding to different counties, or what does your growth plan look like?
So my growth plan is to be really good in one thing and then grow from there. So if we can kill it in Hillsborough County and kill it in Pasco County, I'm going to be happy with that because I know we're providing a great service and a quality service.
Absolutely. And that stretches out a pretty far distance, I'm sure, though, from tip to tip.
Absolutely.
I want to ask now, do you have a team, or will people get you if you call?
So most of the time they'll get myself. I also have a team that works for me. I have an estimator and a project manager that are, they're like family. You'll get in touch with one of us at any point throughout the whole project.
Perfect. Now, say they were getting ready to bring you on. What are some things that people would need to do regardless before they have a professional come in their house? What are some things that you need to know as the vendor?
So we really want you to know what you're looking for. We want to be able to see that vision with you. If we can understand that vision, it better helps equip what we're going to do. And then it's all about prepping it for us. 80% of our job is prep. So we go in there and focus on that because if we do that right, we'll do everything else right.
I love that. See what he's saying, entrepreneurs, doing the little things right, prepping yourself for success. Then the rest is easy because that's what he loves to do. Where do you see a gap in your industry that you could fill?
So the biggest gap we see is the professionalism. There's not a lot of professional companies out there who are willing to put on a clean shirt and just treat people with respect, return phone calls, answer the phone if it rings. The service industry as a whole in home services gets a really bad rep. And there's a lot of great companies out there that do this, but they're not as well looked at because of the other companies.
Very well said. I expect to see big things out of you doing great work for the Tampa community. If it wasn't painting, what was it going to be after restaurant life? I know it definitely could take a toll on you, especially from the leadership standpoint. I can't imagine. What did you think was going to be next?
Man, I went down some deep rabbit holes looking at different companies from poop scooping to travel agent. Again, I wanted to build a business, but you name it, I probably looked at it with tree trimming. Home services is kind of where I fell into, but painting is just what really drew me in.
I love that. Well, you didn't just jump into this at least without putting any thought into it. It was a strategic decision. You always need a painter, right? Someone always is going to want to fix up their house and make it their dream. Who would you say your target customer is right now?
So the best customer is somebody who doesn't have either enough time to keep their house up and repaint, or an elderly couple who knows it needs to be done, but maybe not have the energy or efficiency to do it. We can paint most exterior homes now in 2 days. We can paint most interior homes, depending on the size, in 3 to 4 days. It's all about time for us, and efficiency is what really keeps us going.
I think that's pretty great how, all right, it's a 1 week investment for the client, say, and then you have a house brand new from there. Now, say someone is new to the paint world, right? And they make the mistake of buying indoor paint for outside for exterior or vice versa. If you could backtrack with them before they make that mistake, what are some basics they need to know?
First, know which paint you're going to get for the inside or outside. That's a big key. But also know what the surface is that you're going to be painting on, because if you don't know the surface, then you could be completely messing up the walls. It is a chemical balance as well. There is a little science to it. It's
Right.
not just slapping up paint and going. Definitely want to have the right product for what your needs are.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I just had to tap a little bit into his expertise because there is a lot of misconception out there. As he said, he's trying to overcome the normal stereotype of what a painter may be that shows up to your house. But before we sign off and we revisit your contact info, if you could choose to sit down with any entrepreneur, Matt, dead or alive, to pick their brain at this point of your life, this point of your journey, who's it going to be?
Honestly, Grant Cardone. I think that guy is just a ball of energy. I don't believe in everything he says, but man, that guy has a lot of good theories and way he goes about his daily life. I do appreciate that.
Let's take it a step further. Where would you sit down with Grant if you had that opportunity too?
On one of his private jets.
Yeah, what would be the first question?
Tell me, where do you get so much energy? And that's all I need to know. I can tap in it from there.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see how that top whatever 0.5%, not even the top one, how those guys, you see a little bit of it and you try to emulate bits and pieces into your own journey. But having conversations like that would be invaluable. Be sure to tag in when this episode goes live. And with that, I got to thank you so much, Matt, for joining this community of entrepreneurs, especially a Tampa entrepreneur. Love showing love to everyone out here in Tampa Bay. One more time, where can we find your physical location? And then where can we find more about you all online?
So our website's freshcoatpainters.com. We don't have a physical address because we work at the homes or in front of the homes, but you can find us on all social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn.
All right. Thank you for sharing that, everyone. Be sure to look into him for your next paint job. He's got a lot to offer. As you can see, he's also very passionate about what he does. The show is at That Entrepreneur Show on all podcast platforms, all social media platforms, and I am at Vincent A. Lancy on the same. Be sure to subscribe to me on YouTube to see some video clips of this show in the following weeks from its release. But with that, we are signing off here today, both in Tampa. If you want to join the show as a guest or a partner, reach out to Danica at podcastsbylancy@gmail.com, plural podcasts. Matt, thanks again.
Thanks, Vincent. Appreciate it.